Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are so lucky to have me, one of your very cool teachers, who's able to present remotely from you while I'm at home the night before class because I won't be there on Monday. Again, I apologize. I'm at PD today. However, we're going to start moving forward in this writing assignment now that we're done reading everything. So please take out your notebooks. This is going to be the next number in your table of contents. The title will be Writing Strategies or Writing a Successful Introduction. And then we'll get started. As we go through this presentation, please know that if you feel like I am speaking too quickly or you can't take your notes quick enough, ask your substitute to just hit pause. That way you can catch up moving forward. But it's very important that you stay focused and that you write as quickly as possible. That way you can get all the information down. This PowerPoint or this Prezi and this YouTube video will be available for you on my website. So if you feel like you need to watch it again or if you feel like you need to get more information, it is at your disposal. So let's get started. The first slide, you do not need to write down. So just listen because you will be writing each component as we move forward. The 5 main components of writing a successful introductory paragraph are listed below. You're always going to want to include your background. You always want to acknowledge the other side, include your arguments, your thesis or position statement, and lastly, you always want to appeal to your audience. We're going to explore each of these components as we move forward today. And then you will be able to practice writing them tonight for homework. So background. The first thing that you need to include in your introductory paragraph is the background information. This allows you to let your audience know what the topic is. How do we define this problem? So, for example, this essay is going to be about the immigration crisis. How should America deal with it? That's kind of how you're going to want to address this issue. Not everyone is going to know what the immigration crisis is, so you have to define it. How will you define it? Additionally, if there's any background information about the topic, you'll want to include that. Has there been any legislation that's come across because of it? Or has there been any issues that have come about? Maybe you want to cite how many people have come across the border over the past year based on this. So I'm just going to give you a minute to finish writing down this information, and then we'll move on to item number 2. If you hear any jostling in the background of this video, it is my dog going nuts. All right, so item number 2, or component number 2 in a successful introductory paragraph. You are writing a persuasive essay, so it's really important that you acknowledge that there are 2 sides to your arguments. Now, it's not just important that you do this, it's important that you do this successfully. In acknowledging the other side, what happens is you show your reader that you have done research and that you came to this conclusion after you did your research, and therefore you are now a reliable and credible source. It also allows you to show the reader that you're knowledgeable and you're able to successfully refute or argue against the other point of view. Now we will be taking a look at this specifically at the end of this presentation, so you can see a successful introductory paragraph written on this topic. So if this sounds kind of foreign or seems kind of foreign or isn't very clear, please don't worry because it will become clear as we move forward. Number 3 are your arguments. You need to identify the 3 main arguments that you will explain in your essay. Do not define them, simply state them. This will give your reader an outline for the remainder of your essay, and you have to have at least 3. Now, I like to think of my introductory paragraph always as the outline for my essay. It gives my audience an idea of what it's going to be about, but doesn't give them too much information. It also gets them interested in what I have to say. Now, these arguments that you include get them interested, and they also really outline the type of information that you're going to include. Arguments are debatable statements. That's really important to remember. They are not facts or evidence, so please include an argument that is debatable. It is a smaller opinion statement based off of the stance that you're going to be arguing for in this essay. All right, component number 4 is your thesis or the purpose of your essay. Now, we wrote your position statements on Friday in class, so you should already have this. So you just want to look at the previous notes that we took in class on Friday, and that is going to be your position statement or your thesis for this essay. Now remember, your thesis should be along these lines. The immigration crisis must be addressed immediately. Our country must look out for its own citizens and focus for its own people and focus on its own citizens. The opposite of this would be the immigration crisis must be addressed immediately. These illegal immigrant children deserve the right at a safe and secure future in America. Remember, each sentence for our position statements is the same, and that's because we're not stating our opinion in it yet, or what we believe should be done based off of the information we've researched and learned about. It's just telling us that it needs to be addressed immediately. So all of you, no matter your position, have the same first sentence for the position statement, part of your introductory paragraph. So I'm going to give you guys a moment just to write this down. You don't need to write down the examples because guess what? You already have your position statement or your thesis written. We did that on Friday in class. If you were absent on Friday, after we get through this presentation, make sure you borrow one of your friends' notes from Friday. That way you can get ahead or kind of get on track for where you should be in class. All right, and the final component that you must remember in your introductory paragraphs is you must always appeal to your audience. As a writer, you must always keep your reader in mind, because if we don't appeal to our audience, we're writing in a very boring manner. You need to keep your information interesting at all times. You need to address your audience not only in your heading or dear, but also throughout your intro. Now, if you look back at the notes we took on Friday, we did that in our position statements. We mentioned the senator and we urged him to take action based off of our opinion. So by saying senator again in our introductory paragraph, even though it's toward the end, and by asking him to do something about the information we're about to present to him, we're appealing to him and making him interested in what we have to say. We're pretty much saying that you need to take what I'm saying seriously because it's really for the sake of America's future, whether we're supporting or denying illegal immigrant children future here. So I'll give you guys just a moment to continue writing this down before we go on to a nice example of this information. Again, if you hear scratching in the background, that is my dog going nuts. All right, so let's do some practice. Let's take a look at an introductory paragraph. Now, this introductory paragraph should not be what yours looks like. You're going to have the same type of content, but not the same sentences. Do not plagiarize this paragraph. I repeat, do not plagiarize this paragraph. In your introductory paragraph, you're going to address a state senator. You can either address State Senator Richard Blumenthal or State Senator Chris Murphy. Your choice. If you want to leave that blank because you can't spell what I just said off the top of your head, that is okay. Just hold off on that and we can do that on Tuesday. So, dear Senator Blumenthal, as a concerned citizen, I find myself often reading news articles and staying up to date on what's going on around the world. Our country was founded on the principle of freedom and opportunity. My grandfather came here 60 years ago because of these principles. Many came in before him and continue to come today due to them as well. It is our country's job to continue to instill these freedoms for all who want it. This is why our recent immigration crisis is so important. So here is me setting up the background information of kind of, here's my grandfather's story. This is why people want to come to America. Now, this is just one way that you might set up the background or define the problem. You might also choose to define the problem or set the background information by explaining how many people have crossed the border in the past year. It's upwards of 90,000. That's from your articles that we read in number 25 of your TOC. You might talk about how your family came. You might talk about of a story of somebody you know, etc. Really, any way you want to define this as a problem, is a fine way to kind of hook your reader and get them interested in what you have to say. So then I move on to option 2 is acknowledging the other side. As a concerned citizen, I can see the point of view of those who oppose the support of these illegal children. However, they are in need of serious help and it is our job to provide it. So I'm acknowledging that there's an other side to my position. So by doing that, I acknowledge the other side and let my audience know that I've done my research. Now, there's a problem with this acknowledging the other side. It's not giving a specific argument against my side. So I don't think that this is a really effective acknowledging the other side. It's just to give you an idea of how to put it in. Rather than putting what I have here, what I might say is, as a concerned citizen, I can see the point of view of those who support or oppose illegal immigrant children due to the fact that they came here illegally and it's against the law. However, it's important that you include that specific piece of information. That way your audience knows that you are truly an informed reader and you're not just throwing something in there. So that's acknowledging the other side. Then I want to state my arguments. Because of our founding principles, the violence these children are escaping and the potential gains of our country can receive from them, I believe that we should give them a path to citizenship. So here are my 3 arguments. It's our job to provide help for these children, that they need to get out of this violence, and we have so many potential gains for our country based off of them. So 3 arguments embedded in here. And then lastly, I'm going to appeal to my audience and I'm going to state my position statement or my thesis. As a second-generation American with grandparents who immigrated to the United States for a better life, I fervently support children who are seeking to do the same. So it is your job now, not right this second, wait for my instructions, to write a successful or well-written introductory paragraph. I expect that they are done when you walk into class tomorrow morning, because when we walk into class tomorrow morning, we're going to do peer editing, similar to what we did as we were developing our current events projects. You did a chunk of the current events project. The next morning you came in, we shared with other students, we read each other's, we gave constructive criticism, not on grammar and spelling, etc., but on the true content that's included in there. And that's what we're going to be working on tomorrow. So it's really important that if you want to have a productive day in class tomorrow, that you get these introductory paragraphs written. I'm giving you time in class now. You're going to have about a half hour once I'm done explaining to do them. You want to include those 5 important components to have a good introductory paragraph. Remember, the first is a background information or defining the problem. Your second is acknowledging the other side. Make sure you give a specific argument. The third are your arguments, kind of shutting down why the other side is wrong. The fourth is going to be your position statement or thesis. And lastly, as you're writing your introductory paragraph, remember to appeal to your audience. Use lots of interesting vocabulary that appeals to your audience. Make sure you acknowledge them and address them throughout your introductory paragraph. That way they get interested in what you have to say and they get pulled into the information you're going to present later. This is going to be the outline for your essay, so please take the time to do it well. And remember, it will slowly build into your essay. So if you have questions, you can email me. I should have my computer throughout the day. Just email my Gmail account. You all know it. Don't email me during class. This would be during study halls and afterwards. You should have no technology out, of course, but you all know that. Hope you all have a wonderful day and get to work.